The Assembly Transportation Committee is called to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll for a quorum.
Frazier.
Here.
Frazier here. Linder. Here. Linder here. Baker. Here. Baker here. Bloom. Brown. Here. Brown here. Chu. Daly.
Here.
Daly here. Dodd.
Here.
Dodd here. Eduardo Garcia. Gomez. Kim.
Here.
Kim here. Mathis.
Here.
Mathis here. Medina. Melendez. Nazarian. O'Donnell. O'Donnell here.
We have a quorum. We'll go to announcements. Assemblymember Medina is absent today. We have a measure off consent, file item number 2, ACR 178, so the author may present the resolution. Measures on consent today, file item number 3, ACR 180, file item number 4, ACR 197, file item number 6, SB 425, file item 10, SB 998, file item 12, SB 1066, and file item 15, SB 1305. Would any member like to remove an item from the consent calendar? Do I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Mathis, a second by Mr. Dodd. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the consent calendar.
Frazier.
Aye.
Frazier, aye. Linder.
Aye.
Linder, aye. Baker.
Aye.
Baker, aye. Bloom. Brown.
Aye.
Brown, aye. Chu. Daly.
Aye.
Daly, aye. Dodd.
Aye.
Dodd, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Gomez. Kim.
Aye.
Kim, aye. Mathis.
Aye.
Mathis, aye. Medina. Melendez. Nazarian. O'Donnell. O'Donnell, aye.
That has 9. We'll leave roll open for absent members. Sergeant, will you please call the absent members of the committee, please? So we will we're going to make a slight adjustment this afternoon in order in which we hear our bills. In order to process bills that are double referred, we asked Senator Hill to present file item 11, SB 1046 first. If that bill is successful, staff will need to get it to the desk so that it can be heard in a subsequent committee hearing today, the next day, excuse me. We will then ask Senator Hill to present his other bills. Additionally, Senator Hill will be presenting SB 824 for Senator Bell this afternoon. Senator Hill, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. SB 1046. In California, each year, about 1,000 people die from drunk drivers and more than 20,000 are injured. I respectfully ask for an aye vote, members. Thank you.
Any other witnesses in support of the bill? Please identify yourself and who you represent, please.
Thank you, Chairman Frazier and members of the committee. My name is Mary Klatzbach. I'm a resident of Livermore, California. I am a nurse at John Muir Medical Center in Walnut Creek, California, the only trauma center in Contra Costa. I've been there for 27 years, and I'm a national board member of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I'm here today because my son, Matt was 22 years old. He was a midshipman at the United States Naval Academy, home on summer break, and in an instant, our lives were changed. The car that my husband, Tom, myself, and Matt were in was struck by a drunk driver. We were on our way home from a day at the beach, just like many families in California do every weekend. I remember very clearly the night of July 29th, 2011, when I heard an EMT say that this one has no pulse. As a nurse at a trauma center, I knew that it was bad, and I knew that they were talking about Matt. I tried to get to him to render CPR, but I was hurt, and I was trapped in the car myself. It's the most helpless feeling that I have ever had. It is a pain that I will live with the rest of my life. I share my story not for your pity, but to ask you for your yes vote in moving this life-saving bill forward. MAD and 40 organizations from the medical community, law enforcement, various traffic safety organizations, NTSB, the Centers for Disease Control, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration all support this bill. I'm asking you today for your yes vote so we can continue to lead the way in California on highway safety. Thank you.
Next witness, please state who you are and who you represent.
Yes, my name is Lonnie George.
I'm here with Matt. I'm a victim advocate with Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I'd like to thank the chairman and the members of the committee for allowing me to speak here today. I live here in Rockland, California. I'm here today because my 19-year-old son, Matthew, was killed by a drunk driver in August of 2011 here in Sacramento on Highway 50 at 65th Street. This is a crime that's 100% preventable. These do not have to happen. I ask you today for a yes vote to prevent others from having to go through this kind of tragedy and other families for having to live without their child. Thank you for your time.
Mark Watts, representing General Motors. We're here in support today, and I encourage your aye vote.
Thank you. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman, members, Randy Perry with Aaron Reed and Associates on behalf of the California Association of Highway Patrol and PORAC in support.
Thank you.
Audrey Durfer on behalf of the County of San Mateo in support.
Andrew Langley on behalf of the County of San Diego in support. Thank you.
Bruce Livingston with Alcohol Justice. We strongly support this bill. Thanks.
Mr. Chair, Chris McKaylee on behalf of the California Ambulance Association in support of the bill.
Mike Carpenter on behalf of AAA of Northern California, Nevada, and Utah. Strong support.
Tim Chang for the Auto Club of Southern California in support.
Any other members of the public that would like to testify in support of the bill? Seeing none, any members of the public that would like to testify in opposition to the author's bill? Please state your name and who you represent, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the California Attorneys for Criminal Justice. We are a statewide association of criminal defense attorneys. We are unfortunately opposed to the measure. By way of background, I've been involved in legislation in this area for many, many years and was firsthand involved in negotiation of the pilot project. So I'm intimately familiar with the background, why we came up with the pilot project, how that was agreed to, some of the gaps in the pilot project, and what the expectation was when the pilot project was initiated and what the hope was for the study. I can tell you this, a few things. One, the bill is premature. We just read the DMV report that was issued, I believe, last week, and there's still a number of gaps in the implementation of this. A few things to keep in mind. Number one, we have a problem in the pilot counties. Less than 50% of individuals who were supposed to install IADs did not. So that is a major problem that needs to be reviewed and understand why there is this lack of compliance. It's something that we raised back in whatever year it was when the pilot was adopted, that taking this kind of one-size-fits-all approach and removing discretion from judges was going to result in significant gaps that really undermine the objectives of the bill. Having judges possess full discretion to identify which individuals need IIDs or additional remedies or additional sanctions on a case-by-case basis is the best way to go. 50% of DUIs in California are Latino drivers, right? Somewhere between 46, 48 every year. There are unique circumstances to each individual. The way other states have looked at this is that when someone has a high BAC, then it's more likely that you need to require the interlock device. There's greater compliance. There's greater protections. This does not take that approach. We think there is a way to integrate IAD into remedies. We believe a case-by-case basis is the best way to go. We think we need to look at the results of the study that was just released. We need to evaluate those. We need to come up with a comprehensive approach so that we're actually looking into who are these drivers that, one, are not complying with the current law, and two, how do we actually stem it? Let me just close by saying less than 5% of individuals who are arrested for a first-time DUI will reoffend within the first year. So it's a very small percentage, though significant, and yet we're trying to apply something 100% across the board. It just doesn't make sense. Let's look at this four-county pilot results. Let's learn from it and then develop a bill that makes sense then. I can address a lot of technical issues if there are questions.
Thank you very much. Any other witnesses of the public that would like to testify in opposition to the author's bill? Seeing none. Any questions of the committee of the author? Ms. Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Hill, thank you for authoring this bill. I'm pleased to be a co-author. It is not premature. We are actually behind from what I understand. There are 27 other states that have already done this. So I appreciate that you're helping us catch up. And with respect to compliance, I hope we'll have an opportunity to find out why there might be people who are not complying, but I'd rather save lives now with those who are. So I appreciate that. And Ms. Klotzbach, thank you for being here and for fighting for the last 7 years or longer to have something like this go statewide. My question to you is, I think I've seen some figures, if you can just share that with the committee, on how many people have been not allowed to drive with the pilot program on. I've seen some figures as high as, or Senator Hill, as high as 1 million. And can you comment on that?
Sure,
so it gives some scale to how many lives we've potentially saved.
Thank you, Assemblymember Baker. And just to reflect on the opposition's comments, the DMV report on the pilot program that was just released. Remember, that was in 4 counties: L.A., Sacramento, Alameda, and Tulare. The first offenders with IIDs are 74% more effective than license suspension in preventing repeat offenders. But Mothers Against Drunk Driving did a report on those 4 counties and took the data from all of those ignition interlock devices that have been installed over that 5 years. And over the last 5 years, ignition interlock devices have stopped drinking and driving incidents over 1 million times in California. So that's someone who had something to drink, had alcohol in their system, went to get behind the wheel of their vehicle, and that IID prevented them from driving. That's significant. Just think of the number of lives saved because of that. So I appreciate the question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any other? Mr. Dodd.
Yeah, Senator Hill, I'm just wondering, wasn't there a provision, I didn't see it in the write-up here, about speaking to the compliance issue, that there would be different rates for low-income people?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. What we've been able to do is 2 things. One, the advantage to this, and mentioning perhaps people of color, people that may be disadvantaged in our community financially. What we've done to provide that, or to address that, are 3 areas, basically. One is, if your license is suspended, which it is when you get a DUI, 50% or more drive on a suspended license because they have to take their children to school. They have to get to work. And a lot of people can't hire a cab and take it. They can't go Uber, so they get behind the wheel, which then, unfortunately, they get into that cycle of one crime and then another crime, and they just keep driving, and if they get arrested for that, and it's besides the accidents that occur. So we're getting them back to work, getting them to go on with their lives earlier. But we've also been able to provide a threshold that helps low-income offenders. They only have to pay from 10% to 50% if they're 100 to 400% of the federal poverty level. And we've also allowed that in the court case, the cost, the ticket, the citation cost, the judge would be allowed to reduce that cost by $500 at his discretion. So we've allowed for a number of opportunities for people to take advantage of so that we can really benefit everyone in our society from this.
Any other questions of members of the committee? Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator, let me just thank you for bringing this measure forward. I signed on as a co-author last year. We had a couple of families in our district that were encouraging us to do so. A young lady named Selena, who was run over by a 3-time DUI offender in our community of Coachella, and maybe unique circumstance, maybe an isolated incident, but quite frankly, a life was taken as a result of someone who was driving for the 3rd time under the influence of alcohol. The opposition has raised some questions about the recent study that has come out. Can you address any of the specific questions as it relates to the percentage of people who have actually installed the devices within these counties? And more specifics?
Well, I don't have those numbers in terms of the numbers. Perhaps Mary would have the answers, but the issue of the numbers that we've seen, but the success rate of those have, as I mentioned, with the reducing the recidivism rate of the repeat offenders has been down by 74% for first offenders.
Not everybody that gets a DUI currently is eligible for the device. Second-time offenders, third-time offenders, they're not eligible right now. They have to complete some administrative action of the DMV. So our percentage of 46 to 47% is higher than those that participate in the other programs that the DMV has, which is 30-some%. I don't know the exact number for that. And as to judges' discretion, we are an administrative state. So the person goes through the court case, and if they are convicted, if the judge chooses not to wet it down, they're convicted. The judge does not have anything to say what happens. It's administrative by the DMV. And this is just a substitution for license suspension to put the ignition interlock on so they can continue to live as a functioning person in society legally.
So to some extent, what we're doing here is we're giving an offender an opportunity to continue to move forward with the opportunity to work and be as productive as possible in our communities. I'm hoping that you're able to continue to work with the opposition. I'm still supportive of the bill. Certainly proud to co-author this measure. And like I said, a tremendous amount of people in my district are looking at this hearing today and hoping that this bill moves forward. Thank you.
So I want the opposition to be able to respond also to the Mr. Garcia's question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just briefly, and let me state this just on a personal point. I completely understand the goals. All of our lives have been touched by DUIs in a number of ways. My family's been victims of a DUI driver. We get it. Nobody wants that to happen. I've also represented folks who've committed DUIs, so I've kind of seen both sides. That being said, on the questions of compliance, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. One is that the sliding scale that's in the bill, and we put this in our letters of a possible amendment, the current statute needs to be clarified that all costs that a business charges to an individual driver need to be subject to the sliding scale. I think that was the intent of the bill when it was adopted a few years back. But what we have found is that the installation companies haven't necessarily done that. They've limited the sliding scale to certain charges, but not necessarily the ongoing. And I think the senator's been trying to address that. So we do appreciate that. That needs to be stronger. Two, I'm glad the proponents mentioned the DMV process. And I have to remind you, if you're going to do this, part of the compliance issue is that we have a two-track system. And if you've never had a DUI, and hopefully you've never have, but if you know anyone, folks are shocked that there is a pardon the pun, two-lane process on this. You go to court to deal with your DUI, but then you also have to deal with DMV. Occasionally they overlap. For the most part, folks in this situation are trying to coordinate timing between the DMV administrative action and the court. So that's where there's a huge drop in compliance, because you may address one but not the other, or the timing may be off. I get calls all the time from attorneys that say, hey, I've got another guy who's trying to comply, but DMV went forward with the suspension, and that's not going to count for the court. The court wants this timing, and it's a disaster. So if you're going to do something statewide, what you need to do is, frankly, maybe get rid of the DMV process or limit it or somehow make it where the two processes work together. Because right now it's a nightmare, and that's part of the reason why you have such low compliance. The other thing, you have DMV hearings where the DMV officer is the prosecutor and the hearing officer. So
I was going to let you respond to Mr. Garcia's question. So
thank you, Mr.
Would you
Chair.
please wrap up? Any other questions from the committee of the author or the witnesses? Mr. Hill, one of the things that has been prevalent among you and I have had some good discussions about this going forward, and ma'am and sir, I've sat in that chair, and I thank you for your continuing your family's legacy on working that. And my daughter was killed on Highway 50 also. So one of the things that I do not want to happen is that we absolutely identify only one source of a remedy, and that we actually have an opportunity to not leave anything out that might be that one-size-fits-all kind of approach just doesn't ever work. And we've seen time and time again that if we leave something on the table that we wish we would have gone back and got, hindsight's 20/20. And so I'm looking forward to you working forward and being successful in this bill, but also not objecting to any other kind of process like 24/7 or any of the other things that might come out in the near future that might be a tool for the judicial system to eradicate drunk driving. And so I'm hoping as you move forward, and you and I have had this discussion, that you have an openness to other folks working with you on the bill to make sure that the success is across the board, and that we can attain more certainty for some of these questionable, in the opposition, people not hooking up their device. There's been a couple of reports, but they're kind of contradictory. And so we want to make sure that we do everything we can and applaud all of your efforts. I honestly do. But I would like to see and hear from you that you would entertain including other options instead of this very inclusive bill.
Well, and thank you for the question, and I appreciate the conversations we've had about this. I guess what I'm looking for in this, and I'm always happy to and want to make sure that whatever we apply, if it's IIDs or some other type of technology, that they work. The one thing about IDs that I know in the 28 states that they've been in use is that they do work, and it's tried, they're tested, they're proven. I mean, it's been clearly shown, especially even in the pilot program that we have today, the MAD report that they released. It's worked. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. I mean, they've even, in terms of the 24/7 program, they said start small, start slowly with it, pick a small area for the jurisdiction to pilot. I mean, I want to make whatever we do, I want to make sure they work. It works. We know that IIDs work. If there's some other technology that works, I'm happy to talk about it and see if there's some way to make sure that we get the best that we can for the people of California.
That I appreciate that, Senator. So with that, just to share with you, you and I have had that discussion about my personal life and what I'm looking forward to you having the success with this and others not going through the tragedy that your two witnesses have gone through. And so I look forward to any opportunity being utilized going forward. And with that, I'll be supporting your bill today. Madam Secretary, please call the roll. Oh, we do have a motion with Mr. Mathis and a second with Mr. Linder. Madam Secretary.
The motion is due pass to the Assembly Business and Professions Committee. Frazier? Aye. Frazier, aye. Linder? Aye. Linder, aye. Baker? Aye. Baker, aye. Bloom? Aye. Brown? Aye. Brown, aye. Chu? Aye. Chu, aye. Daly? Aye. Daly, aye. Dodd? Aye. Dodd, aye. Eduardo Garcia? Aye. Eduardo Garcia, aye. Gomez? Kim? Aye. Kim, aye. Mathis? Medina? Melendez? Nazarian? O'Donnell? O'Donnell, aye.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
So you have 10, it's out. We have to close the roll on this one to get it to the committee for.
Yes, right, very good. And then I'm ready for
SB
SB 824. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Appreciate that.
So go ahead and proceed.
Thank you. SB 824 makes a variety of changes to the Low Carbon Transit Operations Program to give transit agencies flexibility as they seek to maximize cap-and-trade dollars in our local communities. Transit agencies have asked for these changes since some weren't able to use their LC top funds because their formula shares were so small. California's transit agencies need additional flexibility to improve public transit and reduce greenhouse gases. I respectfully ask for an aye vote, members, and we do have some witnesses.
Mr. Linder and Mr. Kansan-Chu on first and a second. Witness, please state your name and who you represent, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Kurt Evans. I'm with the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, and we are one of the co-sponsors of SB 824. The bill would ensure that the necessary tools and flexibility are in place to allow public transit agencies to get the most out of their LC top formula shares. It recognizes that there are a wide variety of things that a public transit agency can do to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and what might work for my agency may not be the wisest investment for somebody else. Put quite simply, the modest changes proposed in SB 824 would maximize greenhouse gas emissions reductions that could be achieved from LC top by maximizing choice. Respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt Robinson on behalf of the California Transit Association. Our association represents more than 200 transit system suppliers and supporting entities throughout California. We are the co-sponsors of this measure. Mr. Evans, I think, did a great job of summarizing what this bill does for our members. If I can, I'd just like to thank your staff, Mr. Chair, who did a wonderful job in getting this bill to the place it's currently in. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'd respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
Mr. Chair, members, Joshua Shaw for the City of San Francisco's Municipal Transportation Agency, Santa Monica's Big Blue Bus, and the Santa Cruz Metropolitan Transit District, all in support.
Mr. Chair, Chris McKaylee on behalf of the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority in support of the bill.
Steve Wallach on behalf of the Alameda Contra Costa Transit District and the Napa Valley Transportation Authority in support.
Thank you.
Rebecca Long on behalf of the Metropolitan Transportation Commission in support.
Michael Pimentel here on behalf of San Mateo County Transit District, Caltrain, and Solano County Transit. Ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Chair and members, Tim Schott on behalf of the San Francisco Bay Area Rapid Transit District in support.
Mr. Chairman and members, Moira Top on behalf of the Orange County Transportation Authority in support.
Michelle Parasite with Public Advocates. We thank the author for working with us on amendments, and we look forward to more. Support if amended.
I'll take the credit. Joshua Stark with Transform to reflect the comments of my partner in Public Advocates, but also to show strong support for the portion of the bill that allows for sustained funding for transit operations through the years. That's a very important component of this bill that we strongly support. Thank you.
Jeannie Wardweller with the California Bicycle Coalition, also in a support if amended position like my two colleagues just before. Thanks.
Delaney Hunter on behalf of the San Bernardino Associated Governments in strong support.
Any other members of the public that would like to testify in support of the author's bill? Seeing none. Any members of the public who would like to testify in opposition to the author's bill? Hearing none, any members of the committee have questions of the author or witnesses? Ms. Kim?
I just want to ask the question, either any witnesses or the sponsor can address this. The bill calls for agencies making upfront investment using your own funds and seeking the reimbursement later. To me, it seems like it's a tremendous risk for your agencies to pursue that option, and you are relying on the fact that your reimbursement would be available from the LCTOP allocations. But are you aware that, are you willing to forego the upfront costs if the funds are not available?
I mean, I think that's a decision that we're going to have to obviously take under consideration. This kind of mechanism is something that is very familiar to transit agencies with regards to federal funds and other state transportation programs, so it's a concept that we're very well aware of. I think when we decide that we're going to do something like this, we have to take into consideration obviously the risks involved, as you mentioned, but also the benefits of doing something like this, which is you could actually get your project going immediately or put your service out on the street immediately, as opposed to waiting for 9, 10, 12, 11 months for the allocation of your funds to actually occur.
Because, here, let me do a follow-up here. The bill explicitly makes any future commitment of cap-and-trade funds contingent on the availability of these funds. And as we understand, we're talking about the year 2020. The funds may not be there, and you are relying on that, in which case my question to you specifically was, are you willing to forego that upfront cost? And what do the other agencies, involved, think about this?
Yeah, and I think you raise a very good question that's specific to this particular funding source as opposed to federal funding sources and other state transportation programs. It may be a situation where transit agencies will decide, I'm not going to do a letter of no prejudice until I know for sure that cap and trade is going to exist after 2020. And if that is indeed the case, at least we have the tool in place for a situation where cap and trade does extend beyond 2020. So, I think your point's a valid one. Is maybe in the short term, an agency would not want to take that risk until they see whether cap and trade exists beyond 2020. But at least we have the tool in place.
I think that whether the funds will be available beyond 2020 is up for the court to decide, which is obviously wanted to bring that out there for the agencies to consider. Thank you.
Any other members of the committee that would like to ask the author any questions? Seeing none. Ms. Brown?
I just wanted to ask the question about the changes in the requirement for disadvantaged communities. Can you maybe explain that just a little bit with the cap and trade?
Sure. Thank you, Assemblywoman. My name is Matt Robinson. I'm with the California Transit Association. We are switching from what's currently an operator-by-operator requirement to a programmatic requirement, meaning right now if you're an operator that has a disadvantaged community in your service area, whether it's 1 or 2 dozen, you have to spend half your money to benefit that community. Instead, we're shifting to the overall total programmatic money, which this year is expected to be about $100 million. So $50 million of that would have to be spent throughout California on disadvantaged communities. But we do require Caltrans and the regional agencies to ensure that there are investments being made in all the various regions throughout the state so that we're not ignoring any one community for a number of years. This change really came out of some of our operators have 1 or 2 census tracts, and they've made investments in these first 2 years in the program, but they're kind of hitting the max they can do there, and so they're sacrificing other good transit investments elsewhere in their communities at the sake of meeting the targets in the Cal EnviroScreen tool. So at the end of the day, more money is going to be spent to benefit DACs than was previously spent throughout the program, but we're just giving a little more flexibility to some of those agencies that only have 1 or 2 popping up.
I'd like to hear more about that as we proceed on this.
Sure.
Your bill. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Any other members of the committee that have questions of the author or witnesses? Seeing none, Senator, would you like to close?
Respectfully, yes, and I vote members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. I'll be supporting SB 824 today, and thank you for representing Senator Bell. Making the LC TOP program more flexible will help achieve the goals of the program to increase mode shift and reduce greenhouse gases. So allowing transit agencies to start new service and continue funding that service is critical to building customer trust through consistency and reliability. I'll be voting on your bill today. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Assembly Appropriations Committee. Frazier?
Aye.
Frazier, aye. Linder? Linder, aye. Baker? Aye. Baker, aye. Bloom? Brown?
Aye.
Brown, aye. Chu? Aye. Chu, aye. Daly? Dodd? Aye. Dodd, aye. Eduardo Garcia? Aye. Eduardo Garcia, aye. Gomez? Kim? Mathis? Medina? Melendez? No. Melendez, no. Nazarian? O'Donnell? Aye. O'Donnell, aye.
That is 8. We'll leave the roll open for absent members. Senator, would you like to proceed with Senate Bill 812?
Be happy to. Thank you very much, and appreciate this. You're going to be really tired of me by the time this day's over.
Never be tired of you, Senator.
Yeah, right. First of all, I'd like to accept the amendments listed in the analysis. Prompted by a runaway bus that crashed in San Francisco last year and injured 20 people, SB 812 improves the safety oversight of buses throughout the state. The bill makes modifications to the CHP's bus inspection program so that it's based on carrier performance. This means that the CHP will focus more of their efforts and limited resources on unsafe bus operators, while still maintaining continued oversight of bus operators with a satisfactory track record. The bill also requires any bus considered unsafe by the CHP to be ordered out of service until it's fixed, and requires the CPUC to consider suspending an operator's permit if they receive 3 consecutive unsatisfactory terminal ratings. SB 812 also requires the CHP to do more surprise inspections, which will greatly improve safety. Currently, most inspections are scheduled, giving time for bus carriers to fix problems before the CHP inspectors arrive. Surprise inspections have been shown to catch safety violations that are not found in scheduled inspections. For example, after the crash in Union Square, the CHP conducted a surprise and unannounced inspection of the company's bus fleet, discovering 61 violations, 29 of which were for equipment issues. I can go on and on, members, but I appreciate the motion and the second. But there has been some, just to let you know, there's been some current issues related to the cost of the inspections, and we've been working with bus operators on trying to resolve that, and we'll continue to. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
Please state your name and who you represent, please.
Mr. Chairman, Josh Pane on behalf of the California Bus Association. We've been very supportive of the Senator's efforts. We applaud his efforts on the safety aspects of the bill. We're still working on the fee piece, as the Senator said, and so we'd applaud your aye vote, and we'll continue to work with the Senator. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt Robinson on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco and San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee. We're in support of this bill. Really appreciate Senator Hill's efforts to help us track down the bad actors in San Francisco. We had an incident pretty recently that got a lot of people hurt. So anything we can do in this area to improve the safety of these buses operating is a good thing. And with that, I'd ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Any other members of the public like to testify in support of the author's bill? Seeing none, any members of the public that would like to testify in opposition to the author's bill? Any members of the committee have questions of the author? Senator, would you like to close?
To respectfully ask for an aye vote, members, thank you. And I just wanted to point out the California Bus Association and the quality bus operators that they represent have done a tremendous job and have come to the table and want to make sure that those bad actors, those very few, are taken care of and put out of business if they keep violating. Thank you. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Senator. So I do have a first from Ms. Brown and a second from Mr. Mathis. Senator, thank you for your work on this bill. It's important to make sure the vehicles carrying passengers out on the road are safe. And it's also important that CHP has the resources it needs to go after carriers with poor track records on safety. And you and I have had this discussion also. And this is why I'll be supporting your bill. Keep up the great work, sir.
Thank you, Richard.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass as amended to the Assembly Appropriations Committee. Frazier. Frazier, aye. Linder. Linder, aye. Baker. Baker, aye. Bloom. Brown.
Aye.
Brown, aye. Chu. Chu, aye. Daly. Dodd. Dodd, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Eduardo Garcia, aye. Gomez. Kim. Kim, aye. Mathis. Mathis, aye. Medina. Melendez. Melendez, aye. Nazarian. O'Donnell. O'Donnell, aye.